This is Steven Dominguez. I'm the mother of Robert Jesse Dominguez, and you are listening to Bigfoot Club podcast.
Hey guys, please go to our website at www.bigfootclubpodcast.com. Check out our merch and all episodes. Also, please look for our social media at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Bigfoot Club 1. That's Bigfoot Club number 1. Also, check out Matt Knapp's Bigfoot Crossroads on YouTube.
Hey everybody, Robert Jesse Dominguez, Bigfoot Club, Season 4, Episode 21. I am here with
Steven,
my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
How's everything going?
Everything's going good. It's interesting week, work,
Yeah?
I haven't twitched in a while, streamed.
I was about to ask you that, too.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a little mental break from it right now. But I'll definitely be on it next week. So
Okay. I'm super excited today. We have interviewing today is Marie Dumont with Florida Bigfoot Research Group. Maria, welcome to the club.
Hi, how are you?
We're good.
we are fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I follow you guys on Facebook all the time. You post some really great memes and
Thank
stuff
you.
like that.
Thank you so much. I think you're the first person that actually complimented me on that. Thank you so much.
He takes pride
I steal
on his
them,
memes.
okay?
Hey,
So,
you can steal whatever you want. I'm okay with it. So thank you so much.
I also have a Facebook group that's called Paranormal Plus.
Okay.
And it's a lighthearted group. So I like to post memes in there. So I usually take some of your memes and I post it over there.
I'm honored that you're doing that. I'm completely open. I don't really care.
I like the name.
Paranormal Plus.
I was about to say Paramount Plus. Paranormal Plus. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
it's almost like I have to pay for it.
I
Just
know.
to get on there.
Subscribe. I'm paying. Yeah, take my money.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. There's paranormal, and then there's
Discovery
Paranormal Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Travel. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. But yeah, he takes pride on those memes. Like he works.
Yeah.
He'll send them to me and be like, "Hey, look, check these out."
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
like, okay. I go, yeah, these are good.
I just try to
You
keep.
find some good ones for
Yeah.
sure.
I just try to keep people engaged because I post our podcasts on there and I want people to be engaged. So I constantly I at least do 6 a day and 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then I push the podcasts and stuff. So
Yeah, man, yeah.
So Marie, enough about us. We want to get into we want to talk about you. How did you get started in Bigfoot stuff? I mean, did you have a sighting that got you going, or just interested?
Well, I've always been a paranormal investigator. I've been doing that for over 30 years now. And it all started with ghosts, ghost hunting, and then it evolved into aliens and UFOs. And then it just evolved into Bigfoot. And the reason why it evolved to Bigfoot was because there's similarities in all three of those.
Mm-hmm.
If you really look at the kinds of evidence that you find, ghost hunting, aliens, UFOs, or Bigfoot, you see orbs are common in all three of those, as well as, equipment malfunctioning, etc. So anyway, about 4 years ago, I went on a tour in the Ocala National Forest with some friends and saw some really strange stuff out there, structures. And I was like, oh my God, this is possibly real. I wasn't really that much into it, but once I did the tour, with my friends, I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to look more into this. So then I would go out with my friends every once in a while. And if I had nobody to go out with, I would go out by myself. And I did that for quite a while. And then I would post my stuff on Facebook on my personal page. And I only had a handful of friends who were really into Bigfoot. And to me, it wasn't the right place to post my evidence, just because, I have employers looking at my Facebook page. I don't want them to think I'm a freak or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So then I started looking around on Facebook trying to find a Bigfoot research group in Florida, but I couldn't find anything that I really liked at the time. So I decided to start my own group. It's called the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group. And we are on Facebook and YouTube. And so that's where I've been posting my evidence, et cetera, et cetera. So it has really evolved into something really special. I have now over 1,800 members in my group.
Wow.
And the beauty of that is the majority of them, at least 90% of those people, all live in Florida.
Wow.
So that's pretty spectacular. Because here in Florida, nobody talks about Bigfoot or skunk apes. Not too many, It's very hush-hush. It seems to be very taboo, blah, blah, blah. Because everybody thinks that Bigfoots are only in the Pacific Northwest and nowhere else in the world, which is ridiculous. So I decided I want to do this. I go out with my team. We go out every single weekend. We're very serious about this. And we have 7 team members. The name of the team is also the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Team. And we've been together now for about 2 years. And we are constantly out in the woods and swamps every single weekend. Our primary investigation area is the Green Swamp, which is outside of Lakeland, Florida.
Okay.
And we had found all kinds of stuff. But we've also investigated. We've been down to the Everglades. We've been to Myakka State Park, Myakka State Forest, Colt Creek State Park, places in Hillsborough County, Polk, Pasco County. And it's a wild ride. We absolutely love it, and I have a really good team.
Yeah, it sounds like I was looking at some of your pictures. They look like you guys look like y'all like being together. So,
yeah.
What I do like about your group is that you're a non-kill group. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you. I noticed that your group is Bigfoot, is not skunk ape. I heard you say skunk ape, but do you call it there skunk ape? Because I hear lots of people in Florida call it skunk ape.
Well, we use both terms because we believe we have 2 different creatures here.
Okay.
In Florida. Based upon the reports, eyewitness reports that we have heard, we've talked to people, it seems like there are Bigfoots, which are, say, from Central Florida, where I'm at in Tampa, and north of Florida. The reports are typically a creature that's 7 to 9 feet tall, and it has 5 toes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the reports in South Florida are a smaller creature, 5 to 7 feet tall, and typically you'll find footprints with only 4 toes, not 5 toes.
Oh.
I was going to say this earlier. I was going to say this for later, but at the very end of the show, we have some people who wrote in for questions. And one of the guys, he's from Florida. He was asking me about, let me see here. I just want to bring this up really quick since you were talking about it. Howard Dickerson, he's had a question for you. He said that Central Florida seen 5-toe prints, ? We have, he sends me pictures, and they got 4 toes, brother. That's what he wrote to me. And this is a gentleman that's has got some stuff going on in his area. Mm-hmm. I forgot what area was that, but it was like closer to the east part of the state. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me about that. And so when you said that, I go, okay.
Well,
yeah.
Howard's telling me the truth.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. It's just like deer. Deer in Florida. Deer in Florida, North Florida, are much larger than the deer down south because of the heat. Mm-hmm. They can't carry the big mass that, the deer up north have. So they're much smaller in size. So even the skunk ape the eyewitness reports are also, they're like a leaner creature They're skinnier, they're smaller, but I've heard they're very aggressive. I don't know anything about that, but very aggressive. But what makes sense to me is most of the reports are in the Everglades, okay? Everything in the Everglades is out to kill you, okay? So you've got Florida panthers, you got pythons, you have all kinds, gators. There's even sharks. I mean, there's all kinds of creatures out there that are out to get you.
Wow.
So I'm not surprised to hear that they are aggressive because everybody's just trying to stay alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
So,
I was about to ask if there was any behavioral differences between the 4-toed and the 5-toed.
Yeah. So it seems like the 5-toed, typical Bigfoot is not as aggressive. I mean, they can be, I guess, depending on what it is you're doing. But typically, they're not as aggressive. But down in the Everglades area, like Big Cypress, stuff like that, I've heard they are aggressive.
Do you? I'm curious. Do you think that their population, and I'm just spitballing here, their population isn't very great, and so they have some incest within their family, and that's why they have 4 toes? I'm just
could be. I really don't know.
Right.
Really don't know, but it very well could be.
Okay.
That is that's just a trait that's, that happened.
Yep. What is? Have you, whenever you're doing your research, or whenever you're out in the field with your group, have you read into anything or strange behavior or a scary incident? I'm just kind of curious on what kind of stuff you run into.
Scary. Not quite sure. It takes a lot to scare me. I guess the scariest things have been more at night when you can't see. And that's my thing, is I rely on my eyesight a lot. So when it's dark, right there, is the element of scariness, creepiness, Like the last time we went out on a night investigation, everything's great and wonderful. And I was with one of my team members, Ruby, because we were waiting for the other ones to arrive. And probably, 20 feet away from us, a barred owl started screeching, making this horrible sound, and it scared the daylights out of us. And we're like, what the heck was that, because it's just making these weird sounds, not typical owl sounds.
Yeah,
kind of like it was fighting with another one kind of thing. And we're like, oh, my God, we're going to die out here.
Because like typically in Texas, they almost sound like monkeys a little bit sometimes.
Right, correct.
And so
that's exactly.
And I was going, what the heck's going on?
So,
yeah, I have yet to experience that. I've not experienced that. So I'd probably be in the same boat, be like, what is that?
Oh, yeah, you can't see anything. And all of a sudden, 20 feet from you, you've got some loud creature, making these weird noises. But everything else, I have not had a personal sighting yet. I know I will because I'm out there so much. Probably my favorite, experience was I was in the Ocala National Forest. I was camping out with some friends a few years ago, and it was the coldest night of the year, and everybody's sitting around the campfire talking, blah, 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 and it was like 1:30 in the morning. 3 of us heard this huge, long howl, which is like the typical, like if you were to hear Matt Moneymaker do a howl, or the what's typically called the Ohio Bigfoot call.
Right.
It's their traditional long howl, and it was amazing. We heard it once. It was off in the distance, maybe a quarter of a mile away, a half a mile away. It was off in the distance, but we heard it clear as a bell, and it only made the vocalization once, and that was truly amazing. But my we find lots of footprints, weird structures, all kinds of things out there.
I was going to ask you, what do you think, and I'd like to ask all the guests here that do Bigfoot stuff, what do you think these structures mean?
Oh, I don't know. We're all just speculating what these things mean. Some people think they're directional, like they're pointing in a certain direction, to a water source or, something. Most of the time, I think it's some kind of marker, like a territorial marker. That's typically my opinion about it.
Okay. I was going to say I was kind of like in the tutelage of Luke Gross. He was the leader of the Texas Bigfoot Research Group here in Texas whenever I was with him. And his theory was, like, we used to find like these little bitty teepees, like little bitty stacks of woods, and it almost looked like someone was going to build a fire, but they wouldn't. And it'd be like
I found one in Mayaca like that.
It's just kind of odd because, like, right next to a tree, I said, why would someone want to build a fire next to a tree? And so so he had the idea that these were like whatever there was in the area, like a Mexican plum tree or a pecan tree or something, something that was like edible. And he would like look at it and goes, I think this is from, Mexican plum tree. I think this is from, and so he had that for for the longest time. And, it was just a theory that happened to us like once or twice, but I just wanted to throw that out to you, Sue.
Yeah, the one I found in Mayaca. And Mayaca is another hot spot for Bigfoot, skunk apes, whatever you want to call them. But it was about maybe 2 feet tall, and it was very organized. And I'm like, I walked past it down when I was going down the trail, and then I was like, wait a minute. I stopped and turned around, and I looked at it. I'm like, what the heck is this? But it makes sense out there because in Mayaca, there's a lot of palmetto bushes. It's like scrub oaks. It's just low palmetto bushes. There's not that many trees out there. If you see some trees, they're like in clumps, like clusters here and there. They're spread out everywhere. So the building materials, you're not going to find these giant teepee structures and things that you find up north or in the Pacific Northwest because the building materials are much smaller. They either have to use palmetto palm fronds or they're picking up pieces of little sticks on the ground from the oak trees and they're building a little tiny structure because that's all there is. So, I've only found one of those, but it was very amazing.
Wow. Let me see. I was going to ask you, did you happen to know Tim Fasano whenever he was alive and he was...
I know the name. I did not know. I never met him.
Okay. But
he was over in Lakeland area. I guess he used to go in the Green Swamp a lot, which is where we investigate.
Oh, okay. Because like he was, I would always like look at his videos and Steve. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about him at all, but he was a researcher out of Florida, and he would post all the time in his car, or he was going out. He passed away recently, not recently, but probably like a couple of years ago. So
yes.
But he was real like beloved in the Bigfoot community. So
yes,
just wanted to pay homage to him or something. But
yes.
I'm with you on the sightings. I've never seen a Bigfoot either, in all the 20 years that I've been in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. I never saw one. But
got yelled at.
Yeah, we got yelled at.
Rocks thrown at us.
Yeah,
eye shine.
Howling, snorting.
Yeah.
So.
We've never unfortunately seen one. That would I don't even. We always have these scenarios where we're like, how do you think how do you think you would act?
Right.
Exactly.
And
we do the same thing. We're like, okay, if one comes out here, what are we going to do? Are we going to get down on the ground? Are we going to run? Or what are we going to do? Like, so you try to make a plan.
I'd like to think that I would do this or do that, and then and then we're all like, when it comes to it, though, we're all like, oh God. freeze,
yeah.
just completely
I'll
freeze
freeze
frozen.
up. That's my natural reaction
Yeah.
to everything. Something traumatic is for me to freeze. So I know that's going to be my reaction. I'm just going to stand there and like, oh my God, and just be frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would be in the woods sometimes, and like we would like hear like something coming through the brush, like it was like a bulldozer, and it was like it'd be like an armadillo.
Yeah. And we're just
Yeah, they're noisy little suckers.
yeah.
That's for sure. I thought you were going to say a hog or something, you know?
No. But yeah, he would. Whenever he would take me when I was like 7 years old, he would always reassure me with another threat.
How did I do that?
He go, hey man, like I'm gonna make you sound like Mark Wahlberg. Hey man, like calm down. Like it's gonna be all right. Like you're more than likely to get like run into a snake or a wild hog before a Bigfoot. Wow, thanks, Rob. I would be like, oh no, now I gotta look for snakes and I was wearing like tennis shoes, shorts, and like I was like, oh man, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, man, you're most likely gonna run into a snake or a wild hog. It's gonna be all right.
Say hello to your mother for me.
Say hello to your mother for me. Yeah. So yeah, he would always. I don't know if you remember you did that, but you would always reassure me with another like possible threats. I was like, oh.
Now I hope you're wearing snake boots
Yeah.
or something, right?
No, well, we haven't gone in a while, but before.
We go back out.
I'm gonna be prepared. Wear jeans and wear.
I don't like copperheads at all. So.
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes copperheads. Any kind of snake. My wife does. She loves snakes.
Really?
Terrified of spiders. I don't understand.
Yeah, well, it's all great and wonderful till you almost step on a water moccasin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, oof. That'll scare you. I don't care what kind of boots you're wearing. But yeah, all my team members, we all wear snake boots. They're waterproof snake boots, so we can kind of maneuver a little bit through the swamp, and we don't have to worry about snakes, because it just gives you that level of comfort. Huh?
Have you ever ran into a snake? Like
yeah, well, I almost stepped on a water moccasin once. Yeah, and my team member Tim stopped me. He's like, water moccasin, and I was like, oh God, my foot was just getting ready to land on it. It was coiled up in about 2 inches of water, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, get me out of here. We have seen pygmy rattlers, but they've been mostly dead. But there are a bunch out there in the woods. But at least wearing the boots, it does provide you with a level of safety.
Yeah.
That's one less thing I have to worry about. I need to worry about armadillos walking around, crashing through palmettos, not snakes.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, where would you buy that at?
Army Navy store.
Army Navy store?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty.
So, Marie, I wanted to ask you a question from John Kershaw. He does Creepers, Cryptid, Paranormal Corner podcast.
That's such a tongue twister.
It is.
Yeah.
He wanted me to ask, what are your thoughts on the Dog Man and how it's related to Bigfoot?
That's the second time somebody's asked me about that. I really don't know. I'm not into the Dog Man thing yet. I'm still investigating Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. But there's been there's a lot of people who are very interested in Dog Man. It is possible, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. We have seen some. I have seen some very large, dog-like prints out there that are just like, just bigger than we don't have like wolves here. We have coyotes. So when you find a large print that kind of looks like a dog, of course it could be a human walking a large dog out there in the swamp, but we don't know. We don't know. It is possible that there's something like that out there.
Okay. Matt Knapp with Bigfoot Crossroads wanted to ask you, what causes the skunk ape smell? Is it the same smell that's reported and associated with Bigfoots in other regions, or is it something unique to the skunk ape?
I think they're the same.
Okay.
The smell is the same. Which I assume is a body odor because of how hot and everything it is here. And it could be, they may be rolling around in the mud in the swamp to help keep the mosquitoes off of them, the bugs off of them.
That is an excellent point. I did not even think about that.
Yeah,
so they're constantly always wet, like a wet dog. So
yeah, because I would assume like when it's hot, they're probably right now sitting in a swamp or a creek or something right now. And who knows? Because I get eaten by mosquitoes. I am a mosquito magnet. So I don't know how a creature can live out there with all the mosquitoes. So maybe they do roll around in the swamp mud. It kind of like provides some kind of barrier so they don't get, torn up by the mosquitoes and the gnats and things like that out there. I'm just speculating. And it could be just body odor from sweating. It's so hot out there. Wow.
Yeah. In Texas, I do notice that, we have cedar trees here in Texas. And a lot of times we run into cedars that it looks like something had backed up into it and just like rubbed its back or its body on it. And so I know it has sap that's insect repellent. So I was going to ask, is there any cedars out there in Florida?
There are. Not typically in the swamps though. Okay. In the swamp area, it's typically just oaks, cypress, and pines out there, and palmettos.
I got another question from Logan Kraft. He does Logan versus Kenny podcast. How does the skunk ape adapt to the climate in like Florida compared to an example, a Sasquatch in a place like Washington?
Well, I think just genetically over the years, they eventually migrated down, and with evolution, they probably, like I said, they're typically smaller down south, 5 to 7 feet tall. So just with evolution, with the heat and stuff like that, they would end up being smaller. They'd probably lose weight. If they were larger, they would lose weight because the food supply is a little different. It's a little harder to come by. We have hogs and deers and gators and stuff like that, but I'm sure it doesn't have the nutritional quality that's up in the Pacific Northwest with the lush, forests and, streams with fish and, salmon and trout and all that good stuff that they can get their hands on.
Moose and elk.
Moose and elk. And here, you're gnawing on an alligator or a lizard or you're, so there's deer, obviously, and they eat deer, hogs. But the food is different. The food supply is different. So just with evolution, I think they just, got smaller.
You think the skunk ape or whatever is down there is like their body just pretty much like it's nothing to them if they were to get bit by a water moccasin?
Right.
Like it's just
I don't know how they do it. Because there's pythons, there's water moccasins, there's rattlesnakes, there's all kinds of, like I said, creatures that are out to kill you in the Everglades. So, how do they deal with getting bit by a water moccasin? What, they just like a bug bite, you would just kind of like, flick the bug off of you? Do they just flick off the snake or something?
Good comparison, yeah. It's like a bug bite to them.
Yeah.
But it's like deadly for us, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like a slight tickle, like, and then they kill it and then they eat it, whatever.
Exactly. They get pissed off, they grab it, hit it against a rock or something,
and just
then
squeeze
they
the
eat
heck out of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's, I've always wondered that. I go, man, what does happen when a Bigfoot gets bit by a snake? Like
I was going to ask, have you had any like reports regarding a Bigfoot eating an alligator? Or?
I'm trying to think. There probably has, because humans can eat gators. But there was a couple videos, and of course people said they're hoaxes and stuff of like a Bigfoot creature in the water, and there's actually one where it looks like it's killing a snake.
Mm.
Like it's beating it against a tree to kill it. So I'm sure the same thing happens with, smaller gators, like baby gators. Maybe they're not going to go to try and eat a 6 or 7 foot gator, but they may eat a 3 or 4 foot gator.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm assuming they would do the same thing. They would just, slam it against a rock, grab it by the tail, and just fling it and smash it.
Okay.
But it's all speculation,
Yes, yeah, that's all we can do most of the time.
I keep thinking of King Kong, where he grabs like the T-Rex mouth, bottom and upper jaw, and just rip it.
Right.
I'm gonna just go with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a Bigfoot could do that.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Bigfoot, if it's like passing through there and the gator tries to attack it, it's like, really? Like, it's like a puppy trying to attack it.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah, a pay-per-view match between a 6-7 foot gator versus a skunk ape. I wonder who's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the video? There's been going around on Facebook the past couple days of a huge, I think it's 11-foot gator that's eating a smaller gator.
I don't think I have seen that.
Wow.
I gotta check that out.
I think
scary.
it's eating like a 5-foot gator, but it's 11-foot gator, and he's got this thing in his mouth, and he's slamming it in the water, and he's definitely killing and eating this thing.
Is that in Florida?
Yeah.
You think? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Marie,
I think it's in the Everglades, of course.
You've got to be careful. You just got to be careful.
I have respect for anybody who lives in Florida, especially in that area. So that's I was like, "Are you going to visit Florida?"
Yeah.
No.
David Shealy's down there in the Everglades, and he's been a researcher since he was 10 years old, and he's had his experiences. He's seen all kinds of stuff, and but we went down there to do an investigation for the day, and we were, driving around. We went down, I think it's called Turner Road, is a popular road to go down. We found a trail, and we got out of the car. We walked down this trail. Now, this trail has water on both sides. So it's the only land is the trail that we're on, And so we're walking, and all of a sudden, we see this little bunny rabbit jump on the trail in front of us, and we all froze. And we were just waiting for something to get this bunny rabbit. We were waiting for a Florida panther to come out of nowhere and grab it, a gator to come get it, or a skunk ape or something. We were just like, oh, my God, this bunny is not going to make it. What's he doing here? And he's just eating the grass, like he's oblivious to what's going on around him. And we're just frozen. We're just like, oh, my God, something's going to come eat this thing. And I don't want to be next to it when it gets eaten, Nothing happened. Huh?
Unless it's a skunk ape.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, I would freeze and be like, is that it? Is that what I think it is?
Well, yeah. But we did hear gibberish out there.
Oh.
We heard... down that same trail, way down at the end, we hear this like two beings, two creatures, two people, something talking to each other, like they're having an argument or something. Mm-hmm. You just hear the chatter, and we're like, what the heck? We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no one out here with us. So who's making this noise? And we're just here, this gibberish kind of sounds.
That's kind of creepy.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
Very amazing.
It's amazing and creepy at the same time, so.
Yeah, it is. And so the whole time while we're down in the Everglades, we're like, oh, my God, we're going to die. Oh, my God, what are we thinking of? After the fact, we're like, wow, that was awesome. Let's do it again, But at the time, it was... it was a little creepy. It was a little on the scary side. But
I've always wanted that right there. I don't know how I would react if I were to hear that, but I've always thought, I was like, maybe what would happen if you try to mock it? Do what it's doing.
They'd probably get pissed.
They'd probably get pissed, right?
Absolutely. I would think they would get very aggressive.
I would think it's like, well, no, I want to have a conversation with them. I don't know what I'm saying, so yeah, I should probably not say that because I could be cursing.
Yeah.
And that's the problem
Yeah.
with people making sounds. My team, typically we don't do calls. Every once in a while, my team member Mike will do a call, but typically we don't like to do it just because we don't know what it means. We don't know what we're saying. We don't know.
Yeah.
So we
That's a
just
good point.
kind of like, we don't go there. We don't go there with that kind of
That's
stuff.
awesome. I love that.
That's a good. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That's for all we know, the yell could be like a warning,
Or a dinner bell.
a dinner bell. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, everybody, come here.
We're
They're
serving-
humans.
we're
Let's
serving-
eat them.
Yeah, we're serving
whatever.
Mexican tonight. Jeez.
Or it could be like a mating call or something.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
No, no.
exactly. We don't know
We
what
don't
it
want that.
means. So yeah, it's great to get a reply, but
what kind of reply
usually
is it?
after people get replies, nothing else happens because it's like they know, oh, that's a human,
Yeah.
mimicking us. Let's get out of here.
They're making a
Typically,
long distance call. Let's go ahead and go.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, oh crap, there's a human out here pretending like they're us. Let's get out of here.
I did have another question from, I'm probably going to butcher this name, so I'm sorry. RJ Zentera wanted, and I get this question all the time. Why are they pictures of videos of Bigfoot blurry? ? Do you ever see one? ? I watch so many shows on this, and it's always the same. I would think by now that Bigfoots are real, that we would have some actual evidence. I get that question all the time too. So
Absolutely. Of course. Most skeptics will ask that question. Well, first of all, they're photographed or filmed typically from a distance.
Mhm.
Okay. So then what you have is you got to zoom in to try and see what this thing is that you saw or whatever. And with the pixelations and stuff like that, it becomes a blurry image. But there's also the theory, though, they move really quickly a lot of the times. So, maybe they're moving too quick for the camera that you're using,
right.
which could make it look blurry in a photo. There's a story I heard of these two guys were on four-wheelers in the Ocala National Forest, and they're just cruising along during the day, and they saw a juvenile Bigfoot walking in the middle of the day in an open area, and they tried to go after it, but they couldn't catch up to it. They said it was going at about 35 miles an hour.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. So try to photograph that.
Yeah, I could.
It's
I
going
can totally
to be
see
blurry. Or maybe it has something to do with their fur, their hair that they have. Maybe they have a way of turning a certain way that make it look like they're cloaking, or it may give them, they may have a special kind of camouflage. I always say that I would not be surprised if Bigfoots have like supernatural abilities.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
yeah,
I-
maybe they have the ability to make it look like they're blurry, or maybe it's their energy. Maybe it's their vibration that when you try to photograph it or film it, it looks blurry all the time.
I love that answer.
I think that's what I always thought too. Is I think they omit something, especially when they're. It's kind of like
scared,
how,
maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of like how whenever we feel like we're being watched, our hair static and all
Right,
that stuff. Like
right.
we feel like we're being watched and we feel uneasy. They probably omit that since they're such a superhuman being. They omit
like
that.
a defense, a
Yeah.
defense mechanism.
So any
kind of
electronic stuff that's like already on it, like it distorts it, like it just.
Yes.
And I think that's very a good possibility.
What are your thoughts on infrasound?
Infrasound. my team member Mike, he's been hit with infrasound twice.
Okay.
He's
Really?
gotten really, really, really sick. Major headache. He just got hit with it in an area in Hillsborough County about a month ago. And he was really, in a bad place. He had a very difficult time. He was very sick for about a week from it. Now, is it true, infrasound? We don't know. There's some researchers in Florida who are starting to look at the possibility that maybe it's radio frequency. It's RF and not infrasound.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing experiments out there in the field, trying to see if that's a possibility. We have certain spots in the green swamp where we use the tri-field meter on the RF setting, and we get spikes. And we shouldn't be getting spikes of anything like that in the middle of the swamp.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's no electrical wires. There's no nothing. And even our phones, we have our phones set on airplane mode, so it doesn't set off the meters at all. And but we do get spikes, and we don't know why we get that. But what's interesting is we've gotten spikes when we are approaching a structure, or when I've touched a structure, the meter will go off.
Wow, I never even thought about that because because like I was telling you earlier, like before we actually started recording, I was a paranormal investigator for 10 years and did Bigfoot stuff for 20. And just recently, probably like a year ago, I started carrying EMF meters with me, like in the field.
Yep.
And like I've always I talked to somebody and they were saying like, oh, I had this person go off because this person was reacting to an EMF field. And they were telling me, because that sounds like infrasound to me. And I go, wait. I go, yeah, they have similar characteristics of, because everybody reacts different to infrasound or EMF. Then, like you're saying, some people get sick, some people get dizzy, some people hallucinate, some people get headaches.
Right.
So I always carry like something like in the field with me all the time now. And so whenever you said that rings home with me. I said, I've never tried that. I've never tried like a EMF reader on a structure or a tree break. That's interesting.
Do you have a tri-field meter, or you just have an EMF meter?
I have several different kinds of EMF. I do not have a those are hard to find.
Yeah. If you get a tri-field meter, it also measures EMF. It also measures RF. It does several different things that you could play with. And but we're playing with the RF, and it's used to measure, like you can use it to measure your microwave, what is emitting from your microwave. If you have a leak or something like that, that's what the RF can do. So I'm sure it can kind of mess you up as well if you're exposed to high levels of RF.
Well, let me throw this at you also as well. Say, like, 'cause for example, there's an area in Texas that I go to. It's called Brown Springs, and Brown Springs normally has in the past, in the 50s and 60s, it was a body dumping ground for like the Dallas mob. And there's Bigfoot out there, and I think we were talking on another show, Steven, how we thought that if there's all these bodies that are buried there, and there's paranormal activity, and it's set, and they're moving around, they're going to send off EMF. Let's say a Bigfoot walks in that area and it gets affected by this EMF or this, it's not doing infrasound on someone, it actually walks into it. What if he gets upset because he's walking into this big field of like milligaus, and it's and becomes very aggressive. So I just wanted to throw that at you. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it is possible. I'm trying to think of a situation like that. We've been out there at night, and we have our meters, stuff like that. I have some paranormal equipment out there while we're Bigfooting, because we walk around a little bit, but usually we'll sit down. And so we have our thermal cameras, we'll have night goggles, we have like everything you could think of. And the last time we went out, we caught someone in the pictures with us in the film.
What?
What the heck?
Wow.
Yeah, it looked like a teenager, like someone who's either like a Boy Scout or it could be like Civil War or something. But yeah, we caught it in our film. And we're like, who's this person behind me? It was behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that it looks like this guy is clear.
Did he have a
You
hat
could
on?
see him.
Did he have a hat on?
He had a hat on, yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
And he was behind me, and we're like, there was nobody around us. What the heck is this?
That is.
And it happened right after I had a little device that it's like a little motion sensor thing, that a little ball you sit on the ground and you have to touch it in order for it to turn on, and it flashes lights when it turns on. I had some of those out around us, and one of them went off. And I started talking to it. I said, feel free to join us, la, 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 la. And that's when we caught it on film. You could see this full body of this person. We don't even know who this person is. And this is while we're Bigfooting.
Wow.
We're not looking for this stuff. We're just looking for Bigfoot. And, we're waiting for some, to see him to, with our thermals or whatever. But crazy stuff like that happens out there.
Yeah.
We do get paranormal activity. We're not looking for it. It's just happening.
I hear typically there was a guy that was on our show, Carter Bouchard. Mm-hmm. He was part of the BFRO, and he was telling us on his show. I mean, whenever we're talking to him, he said that whenever he would run into Bigfoot incidents that curtailed into paranormal, had paranormal little stories into it, added onto it, that the BFRO would take that out and not.
Of course.
And so I wonder how many people are seeing Bigfoot and they see like an orb or an apparition or lights or something. That's interesting.
Yeah, that happens not all the time, but as researchers, our job is to disclose everything. Mm. No matter how weird or strange it is. It's not all about structures and footprints and having a sighting and, having rocks thrown or sticks thrown at you. It's also it could also be the other stuff. We can't discount, we can't say, oh no, well this, I saw an orb, but that had nothing to do with Bigfoot. You don't know if it has anything to do with Bigfoot or not, but you need to report it as a researcher. Mm-hmm. That's your job. Because it's most likely pieces of the puzzle. That stuff that they're throwing out probably is some pieces of the puzzle. They'll never get the complete picture. They'll never get the complete answer if they're just throwing out what they think, it can't possibly be this. It can't possibly be that. My equipment malfunctioning has nothing to do with Bigfoot. Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. It does. So, we're very serious researchers, and we don't throw out anything as being too ridiculous or too strange. We report it the way it happened, period. That's all we can do.
What do you think it's going to take for science to classify this animal?
Well, they're going to need a body probably. Or live capture of one, but I'm sure our military or government does have something already. Mm-hmm. My personal opinion is they're probably studying them in order to create some kind of super soldier or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've always felt that. Once I started getting talking about infrasound, I thought the government would would probably try to capture or corral one and probably try to figure out how they do
it.
Yeah,
correct.
So,
correct. That or the ability to, cloak themselves, make it look like they disappear or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if that hasn't already happened.
Because like for the longest time, whenever I was with the TBRC, the Texas Bigfoot Research Center, we were into the school of flesh and blood, and it was the primate and all this stuff. But as soon as I left that group, I started branching out and talking to other people and talking to Native Americans, Choctaws, and Caddo Indians, and they would just tell me all these stories and stuff. And so I became a little bit more open minded to other possibilities. So that's one of the stuff that I love talking about, and I know people in the community they call it woo, where it's like it's forbidden, or you're not supposed to talk about it, or you get talked down to about it. Do you run into that at all?
Absolutely, because we do report the paranormal things that happen to us. And some people have ridiculed us for being woo investigators. We're not woo investigators. We're Bigfoot investigators. We're just having paranormal activity happen while we're out there. And we're just reporting it the way it is. You want to hear a funny story?
Absolutely.
Okay, so talk about woo, right? So this has happened twice, 2 different times. It's been captured on film. I was in the Green Swamp. 2 different locations in the Green Swamp. I have my phone in my pocket, and I find a X structure, and I'm walking up to the X structure, and I hear a voice. I hear someone talking, and I'm like, "What the heck? Where's that coming from?" And I realize it's my phone. I pull my phone out. My phone called one of my ex-boyfriends.
And he was
while I was at an X structure.
That's weird. So was he trying to like talk to you or ask you, "Hey, hello"? Was he saying that? Or?
Well, because my phone called him.
Right.
And he's like, "Hello, hello, hello," and I'm like, "What the heck? Who is that?" But that's happened twice. 2 different X structures, 2 different ex-boyfriends. My phone did it automatically. My phone is locked, password protected.
Yeah. That is weird.
Talk about woo, right?
Yeah.
But that's just an example. I've had my phone play weather.com videos by itself out there.
Wow.
Again, my phone's locked, password protected, so you have to unlock it, put in the passcode, go to the internet, type in weather.com, and then go search for a video to play. I don't go to weather.com. I don't watch videos. But my phone was doing it, and that happened while we're out there Bigfooting.
I always wanted, this is the paranormal side, thinking outside the box there. I was wondering if, like, there was maybe somebody that was, passed away there, and they were trying to get to a phone, and they just happen to see you, and they want to reach out or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Steven?
Yeah, anything's possible, but these are like different locations.
Wow.
This isn't one spot. This is different locations.
With the X's there, right? With the X's?
X's. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And even just my phone playing videos. Always it seems to happen when I find a structure, when I'm going to the structure, and which is odd. But again, we report it. We report what happens to us.
Well.
I
I really like that. I think you've touched on some things that I didn't even, I've been researching 20 years. I never thought about. So that's enlightening. I'm really, really happy we're having this talk.
Yeah, it's a great discussion.
I do want to go to Brown Springs with you.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were telling me about it, and I was like, that sounds like a really, really, it could either be a good time or a bad time.
Yeah.
There's no in between. It could either go in whichever favor it is. Because it was you and Kenny that went out there.
It was me, Kenny, Boudros, Julian, my cousin, and his wife, Melissa.
Melissa, yeah.
We went out there, and it was like, supposedly, like the story we heard on this one, Miss Dumont, was there was like a story of this lady, her legs were bent backwards, and she was raped, and she was raped, and her boyfriend's like neck was snapped, and supposedly this lady had primate DNA inside her. I heard it. I heard it from, I think, a constable. They heard it from a sheriff. They heard it from a game warden. Blah blah blah. And it was like, and that was like in the 90s or something like that. And
in the 90s,
yeah, like in the 90s.
Wow.
So we went up there to go investigate. And this area has a lot of Native American lore of Dogman and Bigfoot. And like supposedly, like the settlers that came through there, like got a girl and they kidnapped her and raped her, and then the Native American group went after them and then cursed the area and called it Brown Springs. So it had like natural springs, and so they cursed it so no settler could live there. And then they eventually caught the guy, and they staked him to the ground, and they let like a Dogman or a Bigfoot come out and get him, and that was the story of that area. And so whenever, and like I was telling you also that the Dallas mob used to dump bodies there.
right?
And so whenever we went out there for the very first time, I stepped out of the vehicle and like I had a big, I feel like something was holding my chest down. Like I had a hard time breathing whenever I was there. And it just felt really negative there. And so we end up walking up. We walked down the river a little bit. It was because it's right on the Red River, the border of Oklahoma and Texas. So we walked down maybe like a mile and then came back, and it was we parked in front of this big tree, and then this tree was pushed over, like on front of our vehicle, and then there was footprints around. I think they were like 13-inch prints.
Wow.
And so we took pictures of it, and I think I took off my hat and put it right next to right next to the footprint. And I did a call, and something was calling back from the other side of the Red River, and it sounded like it was going away. Like it was like, and then this was like broad daylight. It was like noon, and my cousin and his wife says, "I think we need to go." But this place is like notorious for like paranormal lore, Native American lore, Bigfoots, and supposedly Dogman too. So.
Well, I mean, Dogman could be a skinwalker, like a shapeshifter.
Yep, I have to agree with you on that one. So,
if it's Native American, it very well could be like a shapeshifter kind of thing.
Yeah, out to get revenge, and it's tribesmen and all that stuff. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so you say all that bad stuff, but I'm like, a part of me wants to go there. You said
yeah,
all that
it's
bad
like,
stuff, and I was like,
I'm in.
I'm in. Sounds like a good
I'm
time.
in.
And we can still do it in like 11 a.m. to like 1 p.m. and be like, okay, we're still alive. Let's take our winnings here. And
We're
go
still
ahead.
alive.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go. Because if that tree is pushed over in front of the vehicle and there's footprints, you see it. Like that's. I don't think I've ever. That's one thing I never got under my belt is seeing a footprint.
Yeah, I could take you out. I'll find stuff.
I've
all the
never
time.
seen a footprint.
You've never seen a footprint?
No,
Are you kidding
not
me?
like on the field, like and that when we're
Wow.
going, would never see. Because I always wondered, like, okay, you see a footprint. I've never seen or never heard anyone say, like, it's got to have a scent, right?
Yeah.
Feet stink. Why don't you try smelling it? See if you smell something.
Oh my God!
Or like, see if it has hair. Like I've always wondered that, and I would probably do something like that and be like, "What are you doing?"
I know. I would
be like, "What are you doing?" I'm smelling the footprint to see if there's any. Yep, there's odor. Yep.
I think you're gonna smell it before you get down there.
See, and I don't think we've ever smelled like when we had that activity over. Not Brown Springs. I always forget the name. Sulphur Springs?
No, it wasn't Sulphur Springs. It was Big Sandy.
Big Sandy. We had all that stuff that was happening, that crazy showdown between whatever was out there with us. I never smelled anything.
Yeah.
And I was all like, wait, I don't smell
I don't think you felt threatened. I think it was just curious because I took Steven out when he was really young, and the second or third time I took you out, right, you had like Bigfoots were yelling at us and throwing rocks at us.
I think it was the fourth time, yeah. It was,
well, I mean, I don't know if it was a Bigfoot, but something was throwing rocks at us.
Yeah, something was throwing rocks at us, and we got eye shine from across the creek. A truck was hauling ass on the road that we were only on, and it like right when it reached like I guess the tree line, past the tree line where it was.
Yeah, where the creek met it.
Where the creek met it, like it like stopped full, like you heard like all
slamming
the way.
On the brakes,
it slammed on the brakes. It backed up and then it zoomed faster than it was going before.
So yeah, we think that like these Bigfoots were walking down this creek bed, and we hit it with flashlights, and we could see like like 2 sets of eye shine, and then something started throwing rocks at us from across the road at us, and it got us our direction there, and then it just took off down the creek bed, and this truck was going down the road, and that's what Steven was talking about. So like the second or third time I took him out to the field, he experienced that, but we didn't smell anything, because like we did tree knocks and we did yell howls,
and we were there to do paranormal stuff, forget ghosts. It was a graveyard. It was a graveyard, and I was already like, nice. I am not happy right now.
Yeah,
I can't see my hand. And apparently, I'm walking in like dead graves, tombstones from like slaves back in the day.
It was Civil War stuff.
And she's over here like, nice, that's awesome. But me at the time, I was like, I am not happy. This is not how I wanted my weekend to go out. But it ended up being like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, because I recall as we pulled up, it was really dark. We like pulled up. And I go to Steven on purpose. I go, I think I forgot the flashlights. He goes, are you serious? I go, no, I'm kidding. I got them.
You go, no, I got you. No, I got it.
Oh,
it's in the
my
trunk.
God.
It's in the trunk. I got the big spotlight. I was like, oh, thank God. He goes, but did I charge it? I go, God dang it. He goes, well, we're going to find out here. Gets out, gets the trunk, he goes, it turns it on, it's real bright. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's working right now. But how many minutes are left in it? I was like, man, come on, dude. Leave the headlight.
That happens the majority of the time when I'm Bigfooting out there at night. My flashlights don't work. And I'm like, God dang it, every single time I'm trying to use a flashlight, it dies. Or I can't turn it on or whatever. I have to get somebody else, use somebody else's flashlight. Happens every freaking time.
Do you haze any of your members at all?
Meaning what?
Like what I was doing to Steven.
Like just messing with them,
Oh yeah, well we just talk the talk.
Okay.
Okay.
But we haven't actually like at night or something done something to each other.
Oh, I see.
No, but we'll talk about it. We'll laugh and make funny jokes and comments and stuff. But no, we don't do anything like that.
Well, Marie, we've been going like an hour now, so.
Can I talk about my team real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, so of course, I'm the founder of the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group on Facebook and YouTube, but we also have a team, a research team, and it's called the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Team. There's 7 team members, and it's me and Tim Turner, Wynette Turner, Mike Aguilar, Desi Herder, Ruby Jo Brew, and Troy Palmer. And each of us brings something different to the table. And I don't know how your team is, but mine is it's set up to where, like for me, like I said, we bring something different to the table. I'm a artistic, creative person, so I'm very good at finding structures and things that are out of the ordinary, out in nature. Because I'm artistic, those kind of things just pop out at me. It looks like a design. It looks like it was intentionally made or placed that way. So that's my niche, as well as footprints. Now Tim, he is a lifetime hunter. He's very good at identifying prints, tracking prints, very detail oriented. He also does the filming for our group. He films these little videos that he posts on our page. And his wife, Wynette, she helps him with the filming. She has a real steady hand, so she usually uses the thermal camera. and she has captured something that looked like it was peeking around behind a tree off in the distance with the thermal camera. And she also is very good at finding carcasses, which is really odd, but that seems to be her niche. You got Mike Aguilar. He is very, in tune, sensitive to Bigfoot. He's the one that's been hit with infrasound a couple times.
Okay.
He's very good at finding gnarly, creepy places for us to investigate. He's also good at finding prints and structures. And then Desi Herder, she's very detail-oriented. She likes audio. So she spends, she's out there capturing audio, and she spends hours on end analyzing with headphones on, trying to figure out the sounds that we're hearing. And she tries, we try to debunk the kind of sounds that we're hearing. We'll run them through, see if it's a particular bird or an owl or whatever.
I like that.
So
like
she
that
spends a lot of hours doing that. Ruby Jo Bruce, one of the newer members to our team, she's lived her life in the swamps, in the woods. So she's very familiar with plant life and the wildlife out there. She's very good at structures as well. And our newest member is Troy Palmer. He is what he calls himself, a open-minded skeptic. And I think every team needs to have a skeptic on it. He's a professional photographer as well. So he's got the cameras with the big lenses and stuff. So he's a wildlife photographer. So, he's got the big cameras. He's out there, of course, looking for wildlife and for Bigfoot. But he's been with our group for about 3 months now, and he's gone from being 0% believer to about an 85% believer.
Wow. Good job, Marie.
Yeah, because of prints and things that they've, we found out there, they have found out there. Him and Desi, a couple months ago, were in the Green Swamp at night, and they happened to come across a trail of small footprints, about 19 of them. And they were 6.5 inches long, small prints, which is really odd. And then they heard some chattering, or they've heard some strange calls out there. So they've sent their information, their data to Cliff Barackman and Dr. Meldrum to, get their opinion on these tracks that they found.
Wow.
Looks like a baby Bigfoot, right?
Mm.
Cliff liked it because the toe impressions were really dug in the ground. So he liked them. But, nobody could say it's definitely a Bigfoot because they're small. They're 6.5 inches long.
Yeah.
Anything could have, it could be a kid out there, which is not very likely because they're very remote in the middle of nowhere. But it's always possible.
Yeah.
So it's either, a kid with some parents out there. The parents are probably walking in the grass and the kid's walking in the dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a baby Bigfoot that was walking down this dirt path. There was 19 prints. That's pretty amazing. And the only way they saw the prints, they're very shallow, was they had a green flashlight. And the green lights, for some reason, really seems to accentuate prints pretty well. We use it quite a bit.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, so try getting a green flashlight, and your footprints will show up a little better, a little more detail than if you're using a white light.
I wanted to thank you for coming on. I really, really enjoyed this. We had a good time. Steven?
Oh, yeah. It was a great time.
Yeah.
It was a great time. And I want to invite you and everybody else to check out our team has a website. It's called midfloridabigfoot.com.
Okay.
And there you can see our you can see pictures of us, our team bios, and we have a research gallery, and there you can see pictures, some of our favorite pictures of things we found out there, like footprints, stick structures, lean-tos, things like that. So
I will, whenever I post this, I will post all your links that you want me to on there as well.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
Marie, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything else you want to plug? Anything like you got any events going on you want to talk about, or?
No, nothing really coming up. Back in January, I was a featured speaker at the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference.
Wow.
In January, that was over in Lakeland, Florida, and I was a featured speaker with Dr. Maria Mayer, Lyle Blackburn, and Lauren Coleman.
Okay, Lauren Coleman.
Yes, I've met him. He's
yes. So that was a good time.
Yeah, I've met Lyle. I've met Lauren. I haven't met Medea yet, so I'd like to meet her. So.
Yeah, she's fabulous. She's the nicest person ever. I'm going to see her again in 3 weeks. I'm going to Utah.
Nice.
For a conference. I'm not speaking there. I'm just going there.
Right.
Just because.
I don't know if you knew this, but with our show, I try to showcase women a lot on this show. And
good.
And so
good.
I want to do that because there's not enough women in our field.
Absolutely.
Especially that are running groups or running running something. So I wanted to. Number one, I found you were interesting, and for some reason something told me to reach out to you, so that's what I wanted to do. I said, I need to talk to Marie.
Thank you. It tends to be a good old boys club.
It is.
So there really aren't that many women involved in this, and it's tough. It's definitely tough as a woman to try and make a presence in this community. It's very difficult.
Well,
but I'm working on it.
I felt that you were strong, and you were, you just seem really interesting. So I just wanted to reach out to you, and I said, man, I gotta talk to her. So she looks like a good lady.
Well, thank you so much.
No
I
problem.
totally enjoyed talking to you and Steve. It's been great.
Yeah, we had a good time. We were laughing probably too much. But so
it's what I do.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay, Marie. I say this, and I really mean this. You're more than welcome to come back on whenever you're ready. If you got some evidence you want to showcase, or something, or if you're writing a book, or if you're going to be a speaker, come back on, and we'll promote the heck out of you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Alrighty. Well.
All right. Okay. Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Alrighty. Bye.
It was a good conversation with Marie. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it.
She's very knowledgeable.
She knows her shit, man.
Yeah, she does.
I'll say that about her.
She very knowledgeable and very sweet, and she looks like she doesn't bullshit around things.
She doesn't, and she's very passionate and caring about her group, which I really loved, and that was awesome. But
I loved how she talked about each person and what they bring to the table.
Yes.
I think every group should do that. Rather than, oh yeah, he's part of our group or she's part of our group.
Yeah.
No, you really need to showcase each person because
accentuate all that stuff. So
it's a group. You interviewed them, you hired them, or not really hired, but allowed them to be in the group. You got to know something about them other than what their names.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about the Black Phone.
Yes.
You watched it before I did,
mm-hmm.
and what are your thoughts on it?
I love it. I am a sucker for, me. I love Stephen King, and his son is adapting very well to creating his own stories and all that stuff. And this was...
Is it a book?
It was a short story.
Okay.
Yeah, and I read it when I was working at ADT, and I read it, and I didn't know that was Stephen King's son.
Wow.
Because his name is Joseph King. But he changed his name to branch out to not be, Stephen King's son, I'm going to read it. He wanted to do his own thing, so he changed it to Hill. So it's Joe Hill. So I remember reading it, and I was like, man, this is a pretty good story. Like, it was simple, and it was only like 86 pages.
Wow.
And it was a really good story, and it was scary because it's something that happens, unfortunately. kids get kidnapped.
Yeah, because when I saw the previews for this, anybody that knows me knows that I do not like to watch movies or read stuff that glorifies killing children. I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
That's one of my things I do not like, and I like any movie I see where a kid gets hurt or something. I stop watching it. And so you were telling me, because you saw this before I did, and you said it's okay, you can watch it.
Yeah.
I go, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust you, and I'm gonna
because they never show it. But the scarier part about it is that you know what he's doing, and it's not sexual.
Yeah,
like what you said, it's not sexual.
Yeah.
It's the, I guess the.
Wait. We should probably do a spoiler, right?
Oh yeah. Spoiler alert! Dang it, we always do this. We always forget. Edit this part to be in the beginning.
If you haven't watched the movie and you want to watch the movie, stop the podcast. Go watch the movie, and then come back.
Go if you have Peacock. Great, it is free to watch it on Peacock. I think, you have to pay the premium. I think.
Yeah, it's like $7.
Yeah, it's worth it. I will say this: it's worth it. It's a great, fantastic movie. Yeah, okay, we'll go watch it. Back to what I was saying. It doesn't. What you said. It doesn't show the sexual. Like it's not sexual.
Yeah, but he gets off on hurting, like beating kids. Like he's playing a game. Mm-hmm. Like he wants them to try to escape. And when they try to escape, he beats the crap out of them. Sometimes sometimes he kills them while he does it. So, and this kid, his name is Finney Shaw.
Finn, yeah, Finney. Oh man, I forgot his last name.
It's Shaw. Finney Shaw.
Finney Shaw.
Yeah.
And the reason why I told you to watch it is because it has some supernatural, paranormal elements to it.
Right.
Not only like it's a serial killer who kidnaps the main character, it's apparently it starts off with, their brother and sister. They go to the same school. It looks like she's a grade below him, and their dad is kind of abusive, which that right there was probably tough to watch.
Yeah,
where he spanks her.
Yeah,
and you're all like, "Geez, like that's full on spanking," and it triggers some.
You can kind of tell he's abusive, but he's actually you can tell he's going through some kind of trauma, and he's drinking, and so he's not all the way there.
He's not
all the way there, and so the story doesn't say what happens to their mother, his wife, but apparently she had passed away or something, and he's struggling with it, like to cope with it and father these two kids, and like he's not doing a good job.
No, so that's how it starts, and then later on you find out that their mother was a medium.
Yeah, she was gifted.
She was gifted. Did I say medium? Medium.
Yeah, medium.
I don't know.
She's the middle of the road.
Middle of the road. Yeah, she's a medium.
She's the side of the road.
She's the side of the road. And she's gifted to where she can speak to spirits and hear them.
Yeah.
So the whole I remember when I watched the trailer, the whole thing, it makes it seem like the sister is gifted and she's trying to find him.
Right.
But you realize Finn has a gift and he just embraced it.
Yeah.
It's a gift that he is given and he embraces because it's a fight or flight situation because he's kidnapped and he's talking to the victims of the kids that he's killed and they're trying to help him.
They like preceded him.
Yeah, and it just happens to have a phone that doesn't work, that's not even hooked up or anything, and he still is contacting the dead, which reminded me of the Blackwell Ghost.
Yes, I was going to say that. It had a Blackwell Ghost feel to it.
Yeah, so each victim that's telling him that they did something, it ends up being, it's like science. It's like,
right.
It gives him that leverage for each thing that they told him to do for the final showdown. But yeah, I was like, man, Robert needs to see this.
I think the runtime was like, I don't know, like an hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, this could actually been like a series. Cause
I remember you telling me that.
Because I really wish they would have talked about a little bit more about all these kids' backgrounds. Mm-hmm. Because like you like two of the kids' backgrounds. Mm-hmm. Like one of the kid, what was his name? Robin. and it was Robin, and I can't think of the other kid's name. It was a Native American kid. It's not coming up on here for some reason. But anyway,
Robin's a Hispanic kid.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna go ahead and flat out say it. Whenever I saw it, I was like, this kid looks like Robert. Whenever you were younger,
yeah,
I was like, holy crap! And he's Hispanic and
he has straight hair.
He has straight hair, straight long hair, and he hates bullies, which I thought that was pretty neat. So he was like kind of like Finn's protector, and ends up still being kind of like Finn's protector at the end.
Yeah, because like I think. Yeah, he's one of those kids that gets abducted, and like I was saying, I wish you got a little taste on his background. And he's a rough kid, and he doesn't like bullies and stuff. But I wish that I'd get more about the other kids because, whenever they introduce like the story of him talking on the phone to Finn, and they were like introducing themselves to him because like one of the kids didn't even go by his name; he was going by the Paperboy.
Paperboy, because he didn't like. I don't know. I don't
See,
know why they didn't do that. Like,
that's the reason why I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted because like this movie I was wanting more out of it. I was wanting more background stuff, and it could have been a series, man. It just, I mean, because like me, I don't like Ethan Hawke. I've never liked him. I've always hated him. But he played. They don't even give his real name on it. Just call him
the grabber.
The grabber.
And then whenever it's his brother. He's like, oh, my brother's almost, he never says his name.
Yeah.
So he's like, even whenever, that's the funny part is that the cops were there.
Yeah.
Whenever they were looking for him. And he's all like, oh, do you live here? No, I'm just like, I'm staying. My brother is working right now. And you're like, oh, okay, well, you need to clean up, because, and that's whenever they see the line of cocaine.
Yeah.
He's like, stupid. And like,
so his brother was so high that he probably didn't notice what his brother was doing.
Exactly. And
so what was he doing when he was in the kitchen, like waiting on Finn to come up?
So that part right there, they had different schedules. So his brother would work at night and
go buy cocaine and come home.
Go buy cocaine and then come home because there was that thing whenever he brings Finn into the little dungeon or basement. He's like, he says something like a line like, I can't do it right now because he's like, why is somebody up there? Like, and it was his brother. His brother was up there, so he would. Yeah, like that's. Yeah, I could see why you would want more on it, but it is a short story, and I think they stretched it enough to cover a movie. And the idea of what the grabber is, you don't really. I like how it just focused on not him. It focused on the victims and the kids because it's not about him. It's about those kids getting out or Finn getting out. So
it's almost like there was like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. Like whenever you're watching it, each kid tells them to do something, and it's like he's thinking it's to escape, but really they were building something for him to win, to beat him. The kid actor's name's Mason Thames.
One that plays Finn?
Finn, yeah. And he did
a
great job. His sister is Madeline McGraw.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. And the other kid, the one that was I think he was Native American. Not Native American. He could have been Native American. Tristan Prong was his name. And the father was being played by Jeremy Davis. He was on Justified.
Justified, Mindhunter. He played Charles Manson. Dude is a great actor.
Yeah, he gets those typical roles where he's
an asshole.
He's an asshole, and he's got to have a mullet.
He's got to have a mullet, and he's got to have his fantastic beard, which I don't blame him. But yeah, it was. What did you think of it being really authentic to the time period, 1978?
78, I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. I loved the bikes and the cars, and I don't know if you noticed, but. That neighbor or that town they were living in, was it Denver? It was like a suburb of Denver or something.
It was a suburb of Denver.
There was no sidewalks. There was hardly any sidewalks like in a neighborhood. I thought that was a good representation of that time period.
Because there wasn't any much sidewalk. If there were sidewalks, wouldn't that be considered a very, very rich area at that time?
Yeah, because you can kind of tell this neighborhood was not a predominantly well funded area or something. So it was kind of interesting. And I did like Ethan Hawke, how he was wearing the mask. They showed his face. It was like a really short thing whenever Finn ripped off his mask, and he was freaking out. He's freaking out because I guess he didn't want, because we were talking about this before, that he didn't want anybody to see his face for what it was, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he was in a fantasy world when he was wearing that mask, and he could do whatever he wanted, but
maybe he really didn't like the thought of him being abused, being the abuser.
Yeah, because didn't he say something like, that phone never worked?
He goes, yeah. He goes, I remember I tried it. He goes, have you tried it? He's like, yeah, I tried it once when I was locked down here. And you're all like, okay, so was it his dad? And his brother was did he get tormented too?
Yeah.
What is? So yeah, I can see why you want it more, but
because I would think that they were probably stepbrothers. And then the other one never really got abused, and Ethan Hawke, the grabber, did and stuff. So, man,
that scene where you think he's gonna get out, he opens the combination and he runs and he catches him, and you're like, ah. And he's like, you scream, I'm gonna gut you like a pig. I was like, oh my God.
The people turn on their lights
and they don't go
outside. What kind of neighborhood is that?
Yeah, obviously, if you turn on the light, that's close to the door, right? So you're going to turn on the light, and then you're going to still look out the window.
Yeah.
None of them did that.
I know.
Especially that house that they were on the lawn right there.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
That made me mad.
Yeah, it did. Did you get scared whenever they went to the house and it was empty?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of...
Saw 2?
No, Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Clarice. Because there's nobody here.
Yeah. I was all like, oh my God, wait, what is this? I was getting worried. I was like, is this a time jump?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if this is a time jump, I'd be so mad. No, it made sense.
I was waiting on Buffalo Bill to answer the door.
Yeah.
Was she a great big fat girl?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a very extremely large person.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching on the...
No, I got her son's card here. Got it. If you want to come in, I can get it for you.
I'm just waiting on you to try to hand me a card and then throw your hands up and drop the card and run off.
Yeah. Here's that card you were looking for. You sure you can use my phone?
Because he goes...
Yeah, he starts laughing. Sure you can use my phone.
So, yeah.
Put your hands on your hips and do the hokey pokey. That stupid blooper. I'm so shocked that they kept that.
Yeah.
I was like, put your hands on your hips and do the fucking hokey pokey.
Why would she think about that? I don't know.
Cops don't do that. Yeah. Put your hands on your hips.
So, anyway, we're laughing, and it's like we're talking about a scary movie.
Yeah. But was there any parts that you jumped?
I jumped on the part where the little boy was suspended in air.
Yeah.
And he was like, his blood was hitting the ground.
Yeah. They built it up so well, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a scary scene, obviously. It's not, it's a victim, obviously. And I was like, there's blood dripping. What's going on? And he's just freaking floating.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay, what's the story on that? How did he die? And there was you realize, some of those kids, they look like they got strangled. I think one of them would look like maybe he got stabbed, but this one was it could have been the first victim. It went out of hand.
He was bleeding, but you didn't really see where he was bleeding from.
I thought it was from the neck. I thought it was from the chest, his head. I don't know. And the way he was just spinning and there's no wire, obviously, and he points at the window. You're just like,
could it have been also that while Ethan Hawke's character's beating him, the dog jumps in and starts biting them in the face, because the newspaper kid had some scars on his face. It looked like maybe fangs or something. I don't know.
It looks like that was the final stage before they got killed.
Yeah,
and then he did have an axe. Duh.
Yeah,
and he was gonna. I guess that was his thing where if you made it to that, maybe that kid made it to that final stage.
Naughty boy,
and then he used the axe on him, and that's why. Yeah, that makes sense. Damn it, that hurts me.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I'm You didn't like Ethan Hawke on Training Day?
No,
Really?
no.
Man,
Such
a good movie.
I do not like him. There's very few movies that I'm going to say. This is only one that I'm going to say that I liked him in because number one, I didn't see his face. That's why.
So you just don't like his face?
I don't know. It's just something about that butt munch. I don't like it.
What are you, butthead from? You just a butthead? There's something about that butt munch.
I don't know. I just dislike him, man.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, whatever.
Come on, man. Like, especially
don't make me say what I'm going to say.
like the scene where how twisted he is whenever, like he said, if you try to touch me, I'm going to scratch you. I'll bite. I'll scratch your face. And he's like, this face, like he's got it was like he was turning into Heath Ledger there in a way.
Yeah.
And I think every part of the game that he was doing with the victim, it looks like he had different variations of the mask.
Yeah.
Like it was show his jaw, his mouth. The other part was covering his face. The other one, it looks like there was one that didn't have horns. Yeah. I think. But yeah, he was really.
It was different. It was different stages of
the mask, and then whenever he first meets Finn, he doesn't have a mask on. He's got his face is painted white.
Yeah,
and he's got that top hat. And are those black balloons? Like,
who has black balloons?
Yeah, could you imagine if that was Mark Wahlberg playing as the grabber?
Yeah,
could you imagine that?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, this face? You're gonna damage this face?
Say hello to your mother for me.
Yeah, say hello to your mother for me. I heard she died. I heard she talks to ghosts.
What did she say?
Yeah, what did she say?
Hey, ghost, what's up? How you hanging?
What's the direct number for the ghost hotline? And how are they calling this phone?
Stupid.
Because we watched Uncharted, and I enjoyed that movie. So yeah,
you're an idiot.
Yeah, man, Mark Wahlberg. Listen, kid, you got all the treasure. You got all the gold coins.
You jumping from Black Phone to
Uncharted. It's because I saw Uncharted.
I didn't finish watching it.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
It's just
it's got Tom Hanks in it.
Yeah, and he finally uses a damn gun at the very end. God damn, I was getting mad.
Oh man.
Yeah, but Black Phone, yes. If you're into the supernatural, would you call it? Paranormal? Yeah,
paranormal.
It's a paranormal movie, but it's not. To me, it wasn't scary. I think that the idea of, because this actually happens way too often, there is stupid fucking assholes that thrive on that, and they kidnap and kill kids, and that's their thing, and. Yeah. That was the scariest part of the movie because it's so
just the thought of it,
and then you got to realize back in the day, like in the 78, like that was
easy. They didn't have
Amber Alert.
They didn't have Amber Alert. They didn't have DNA database. They didn't have any of that stuff.
So a lot of that's why all that shit happened so much back in the day because they took advantage of that.
Yeah, I think not Kaczynski, Dahmer.
Dahmer, yep.
Who else?
Speaking of which, did you hear about that?
What?
That Netflix is doing the Dahmer series and Evan Peters is playing him?
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of serial killers like in the 70s.
Was Ted Bundy was in the 70s, right?
Ted Bundy, Dahmer. I think there was what's that?
John William Gacy?
Yeah, Gacy was in the 70s. What's his name? The
Son of Sam.
Son of Sam, and there was the guy with I can't think of it. The signs with where he wear the mask and I can't think of it.
The Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac Killer. Yeah.
But you got to think, we named a lot of serial killers that was not going for kids, except for John William Gacy.
Yeah.
So was there another serial killer that was doing that to kidnapping kids in the 70s?
There was one in the 80s. It was I can't think of the guy's name. It was African American.
Night Stalker. Night Stalker was one of them.
Yeah, he was one of them. He didn't discriminate. He did.
He doesn't matter.
He did anybody that was he could get to.
Yeah.
Kids, old ladies,
old people. Just. Yeah,
until he ran into a group of Mexicans, and they
exactly
they chased his ass down.
Our race took him down.
They chased his ass and beat him, and
that made me. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
When I saw the documentary, I was like, "Holy shit, are you serious?"
Yeah.
Like this freaking like a bunch of people coming out with pipes, bats. I think one of them came out with chanclas.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, "Dude, this guy's gonna get his ass whooped."
Yeah, he did.
He should have died. But
Shatan couldn't help him that day.
No.
So-
But yeah, the only person I know that was doing that was John William Gacy, I guess, because he did the clown thing and made it seem like he was friendly. He had so much like good. What do you call it? Like the city loved him.
Yeah.
Like the church.
Yeah.
Like, they vouched for him, saying like, no, he's like
He gave it to charity.
Gave it to charity, so he had like so much good coverage where people didn't put him as a suspect.
I think this is the first time we talked about serial killers.
Really?
I think so.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's Black Phone will do that to you.
Yeah, too sweet.
Yeah, because there's a lot of borrowed elements from real serial killers on that. Yeah, we can end it right here. That's all we're going to do is talk about the Black Phone.
Simone,
catch a tone.
All right, well, I guess we're going to talk to Felipe Mendoza next week. So.
Well, before we do that, what would you rate the Black Phone, though? Out of 10?
Out of 10, probably 11.
Dang.
I really, really liked it. I liked the ending. I liked the way they, all the kids end up helping him, and how he finally stood up for himself.
Yep.
At the very end. So it was good.
Yep. That's
and I liked how they ended with him going to school and everybody was amazed by him, and he goes sits next to that same girl and
he likes,
and he's confident. So
and he smiles because the bullies looked at him and they were scared of him.
Yeah,
because you can bullies don't mean nothing if you take down a serial killer.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you ain't scared of nobody now.
Showing up, show you right, hush your mouth.
That's right.
All right, well, we're gonna call it a night, and this was a good one. I really enjoyed talking to Marie.
I hope she comes back.
I
think she's going to be the woman that puts a skunk ape on a headlock.
Yeah, and with snake boots on.
Yep. She's going to have a phone. Put him. I was like, "That's for you.
It's for you." Dumb. All right, say good night.
Good night.